students. Today let us study Vedic education and its implication. Vedic period. Indian civilization and culture is one of the oldest civilization of the world, and all accept that Indian Vedas are the oldest scriptures of the world. There are 4 Vedas. They are Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharva Veda. India was the first country of the world which could develop a very sound system of education during Vedic period. And this system of education is known as Vedic system of education. In other way, we can say that the system of education which was developed during Vedic period is termed as Vedic system of education. The later Vedic system of education is known as Brahmin system of education. The administration and organization remained almost the same throughout the Vedic period. But with the advancement of time, knowledge and art and skills, its curriculum and teaching methods underwent a change. Then let us see the main feature of Vedic system of education. First one, administration and finance of education. 3 facts need to be mentioned here. First one, free from state control. And second one, free education. And third one, sources of income. So let us see one by one. First one, free from state control. The state was not responsible to organize education during Vedic period. The education during this period was completely under the control of Guru, who are the sole in charge of Gurukula. So, Guru is the in charge of this Gurukula. Second point, free education. Education was completely free in Gurukula. The Guru themselves arranged for lodging and boarding of students. The students used to pay Guru Dakshina to their teachers according to their financial position. The third point, sources of income. The Gurukula does not receive any regular grant from the state as in the case today. The kings and emperors gave donation voluntarily in the form of land, animals, grains, clothing, utensils and money to these Gurukuls. So these are the sources of income. In addition to this, the students begged alms from society to meet the day-to-day needs of the Gurukuls. The third source of income was Guru Dakshina. Then the second feature is structure and organization of education. Education during Vedic period was divided into 2 levels, namely primary education and higher education. First one, primary education. Primary education was arranged in families. Vidyarambha Samskara was initiated on auspicious day at the age of about 5 years. It is done at that means commencement of education. Ritual was conducted by the family priest. Child was bathed, put new clothes and was presented before the priest. The priest would spread a new cloth with grains on it. Goddesses were invoked and worshipped by Veda mantras. Child fingers was made to run on grains, making letters of the alphabet. The priest was given Dakshina and he blessed the child, and thus regular education commenced. Next one, higher education. Higher education was organized in Gurukuls. The children were admitted in Gurukuls at the age of 8 to 12 years. Brahmin children at the age of 8 years, Kshatriya children at the age of 10 years and Vaishya children at the age of 12 years. Upanayana Samskara was performed at the time of admission in Gurukuls. Thus, higher education commenced after this ceremony. The third feature, aims and ideals of education. Under this aims and ideals of education, 6 points are there. First one, preservation and enhancement of health. The Vedic rishis and gurus considered salvation to be the ultimate aim of human life. The special emphasis was laid on physical and mental health of the students. They imparted education of people as proper nutrition, right thinking, etc. The students were made wake up early in the morning in Brahma Muhurta and took physical exercise, take simple food and follow the daily routine. Second point, development of knowledge. It was the chief aim of education. Knowledge was considered as the third eye of man. The two eyes merely help us to perceive the concrete and material world, whereas the third eye enabled us to comprehend the material and the metaphysical world. Here, the material world means concrete and metaphysical means abstract world. Third point, acquaintance and observation of social and national duties. The students must do their duties towards society and nation. The Samavardhana ceremony was held at the completion of education. The Guru preached the students in this ceremony. The sermon includes service to parents, service to society, observance of duties of family life. The Guru preached to clear 3 rinas. Rina means debt. They are Putra Rina, Guru Rina and Deva Rina. The fourth point, moral and character development. During this period, character building means to train people to behave according to religion, to provide proper direction to develop their conduct and thinking on the basis of religion. For the moral and character development of children, they were educated in religion and ethics. They were trained in activities like observance of celibacy, control of sense organ and self-control. And fifth point, education of livelihood, arts and skills. Students were trained in agriculture, cattle rearing and other crafts and skills according to their ability. So in the later Vedic period, the occupation-based caste system was replaced by caste-based occupation. People were educated based on their caste. Brahmins or the priests, they were trained in religious activities and teaching. Next, Kshatriyas, they are the warriors and they were trained in administration and wars. Vaishyas, comes under the business class and they had given training in agriculture, cattle rearing, trade and commerce. The education of medical science could be acquired by the children of these 3 classes. In the last phase of Vedic period, the Shudras comes. They were deprived of any right to education because they are the working class. They served the 3 higher classes and where no formal education was required for them. Then sixth point, spiritual development. The ultimate aim of education during Vedic period was spiritual development. To purify the inner and outer aspect of man so as to enable him to proud towards salvation. To achieve this aim, students were conversant in language, literature, religion and ethics. The spirit of religiosity and devotion to God was developed. The students were trained in activities like control of sense organ, religious based content, evening prayers and fire sacrifices. Then fourth main feature, curriculum of education. So curriculum during Vedic period is explained on two bases. First one on the basis of level and second one on the basis of nature. So on the basis of level, it is classified into two. They are curriculum of primary education, then curriculum of higher education. First one, curriculum of primary education. It comprises of training in language, grammar, simple calculation, social behavior and religious activities. Moral stories were added in later Vedic period. People who desired to admit their children in Gurukul for higher education, they educated them in Sanskrit language and its grammar in better way. Then second one, curriculum of higher education. Curriculum of higher education is divided into two parts. They are general education and specific education. First one, general education. Education of Sanskrit language and its grammar, religion and ethics were compulsorily imparted. They have to undertake physical exercise regularly, arrange Gurukul and serve the teacher. So this comes under the general education. Next, specific education. Subject like history, Puranas, astronomy, economics, etc. are included in curriculum of specific education. The students were free to choose any subject of choice. Then second part, on the basis of nature, it is classified into two. They are Abara and Para. Abara means materialistic curriculum and Para means spiritual curriculum. First about Abara curriculum or materialistic curriculum. It included language, grammar, agriculture, cattle rearing, arts, economy, physiology, medical science, military science and Gurukul service. Next, para curriculum or spiritual curriculum. It includes education of Vedic literature, theology and ethics, training in activities like controlling of sense organ, religion-based conduct, mode of worship, evening prayer, etc. Next feature, method of teaching. Teaching was generally conducted orally through question answer, problem solving, lecture and debate. Imitation method was used for teaching language. Demonstration and practice method were used for education of various crafts and skills. The teacher of this period were master of psychology. First one, imitation, repetition and rote method. Imitation is the natural method of learning. Teacher pronounced the Veda mantras before the students. The students initiated them, pronounced them again and again and memorized them. Second one is explanation and illustration method. Guru made to learn rules of grammar or Veda mantra and explained it. They analyzed the meaning used and illustration to clarify it. Then third method, statement, demonstration and practice method. Activity-based subject like agriculture, cattle rearing, military service, medical service were taught through statement, demonstration and practice method. The teacher first told the method and then demonstrated it. The students imitated him and practiced the activity and attained proficiency in it. Then fourth method is question answer, discussion and debate. In the later Vedic period, question answer method, discussion and debate were developed. In the early Vedic period, the teacher preached and lectured. The students listened to them silently, put forward their doubts and teacher solved them. Fifth one, listening, learning and practice method. What the teacher lectured about the religion were listened attentively, learned and practiced regularly. Then sixth one, logic method. It was developed in later Vedic period to lead the subject like logic. There were 5 steps in this method, namely resolve, purpose, example, application and deduction. So the 5 steps are resolve, purpose, example, application and deduction. Then the last method is storytelling method. Acharya Vishnu Sharma created stories to educate the princess about ethics. These stories were compiled under the title Panchatantra. The teacher asked a question after telling the story. The last question used to be where, what moral do you learn from the story? So the medium of instruction were Sanskrit and monitorial system were practiced at that time. Guru appointed monitors where the number of students are increased in Gurukuls. Then sixth main feature is discipline. It includes physical, mental and spiritual control. Physical control includes entertainment through dance and music, intoxicants, gambling, killing cow, telling lies and backbiting. These should be avoided. Then mental control. It includes control of sense organ, speaking truth, non-stealing, keeping away from sex, anger, greed, love and intoxication. Spiritual control. It includes identifying the form of soul and working for universal welfare. Teacher is the Guru and student or Shishya, he remained unmarried. They were called as Brahmachari. And the teacher-student relationship is maintained. Let us see the teaching institution or Gurukul. In Vedic period, primary education was organized at homes and higher education in Gurukuls. Location and form of Gurukul. In early Vedic period, Gurukuls used to be situated in the lap of nature, away from cities and on bank of some river or stream. In later Vedic period, they started in the vicinity of large village or center of pilgrimage. They were generally residential and had their own rule and working system. Various kinds of Gurukuls are there in this period. They are Chola, they imparted higher education in language and literature. Gathika, they imparted special knowledge related to language, literature, religion, philosophy and ethics. Charana, the specific part of Vedas were taught. Chaturpadi, philosophy, Purana, grammar and politics were taught. So these are the kinds of Gurukuls. They are Tola, Gathika, Charana and Chaturpadi. Regarding admission and Upadayana Samskar of students in Gurukul. So the children of different castes were admitted at different stages. Brahmins at the age of 8, Kshatriya at the age of 10 and Vaishnavas at the age of 12. Upadayana ceremony was performed for every child at the time of admission. The word Upadayana means to bring near or to present a child before the teacher. After this, child resolved to follow the rules of Gurukul and observe celibacy. Then daily routine and teaching work in Gurukul. Daily routine of Gurukul was very methodical and tough. Both the student and teacher rose early in the morning, performed ablution, worshipped teacher, arranged residence of teacher and Gurukul, went for alms, brought firewood from forest, fetched water and performed other works. So, the daily routines of the Gurukul, it was very tough. The students have to do all these works. They have to wake up early in the morning. They have to perform ablutions. They have to worship the teacher, arrange the residence of the teacher and Gurukul, and they have to beg for alms, then brought firewood from the forest, fetch water, and do all kinds of works. And the teacher work started after it and continued till afternoon. So there were no classroom in Gurukuls. The teaching work was conducted in open under the shade of trees. So in the evening, the students engaged in food preparation and milking cattle. They had their dinner before sunset. At night, students managed or massaged the feet of the teacher in turn and then retired to bed. Regarding the examination and degrees. Examinations were not conducted in Vedic period in the manner as they are today. Teacher orally asked question to determine whether the student has acquired knowledge or not. Next, he was presented in the assembly of scholars. These scholars asked questions and declared him successful if they are satisfied. No certificates were issued to successful students in Vedic period. Their ability alone was their certificate. But students who completed 12 years of general curriculum, that means one Veda is called Snatak. At 24 years of general curriculum is completed, that means 2 Veda is completed, he is called Vasu. If 36 years of general education is completed, means he had finished 3 Veda, they are called Rudra. If 48 years of general curriculum, that means 4 Veda, he is called Aditya. Then regarding Samavarthana ceremony. The convocation ceremony were held on the completion of Gurukul education. The Samavarthana means to return home. Students put off the celibate robe and wear household clothes. They were made to sit before the fire altar and gods were invoked with Veda mantras. The teacher then preached the student. He preached them to follow the duties of domestic life, social service and duty towards nation and exhorted them not to indulge in idleness. He advised them to free themselves from 3 debts, namely Putrarana, Gururana and Devarana. Next, let us see the contribution of Vedic system to education. The commencement of participation of state and society in the organization of education happens in this Vedic period. Second point, commencement of categorization of education of different level. Third one, narrower and widen the meaning of education. The formulation of universal aims of education. Then fifth point, commencement of extensive curriculum and specialization. Next point, it paves the way for construction of best teaching method. Then development of correct concept of discipline. The next contribution, firm foundation of cordial relationship between teachers and students. Next one, construction of different educational institutions for different types of education. Then acceptance to the significance of mass education. Then equal education to both men and women. Next point, commencement of vocational education. The next one, emphasis on religious and moral education. It teach lessons from bitter experiences. So these are the contribution of Vedic system to education. Once again, commencement of participation of state and society in the organization of education, then commencement of categorization of education at different level, narrower and widen the meaning of education, formulation of universal aims of education, commencement of extensive curriculum and specialization, paved the way for construction of best teaching method, development of correct concept of discipline, firm foundation of cordial relationship between teacher and students, construction of different education institutions for different types of education, acceptance to the significance of mass education, commencement of vocational education, equal education to both men and women, then lesson from bitter experiences. So these are the contributions of Vedic system to education. So let us summarize once again. So Vedic education and its implication. The system of education that was developed during Vedic period is called Vedic system of education. Mainly there are 4 Veda, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharva Veda. And the main feature of Vedic system of education, the first main feature is administration and finance of education. Under this administration and finance, free from state control, free education and sources of income. These 3 points comes under this administration and finance of education. Then second main feature is structure and organization of education. Here it is divided into 2 levels. They are primary and higher education. So under this primary education, Vidyarambha Samskara, that ceremony commences, and under this higher education, they are admitted in the Gurukul. Then Upanayana Samskar was performed at the time of admission in this Gurukul. Then third main feature of this Vedic period is aims and ideals of education. Under this, preservation and enhancement of health, then development of knowledge, acquaintance and observation of social and national duties, moral and character development, then education of livelihood, arts and skills, then spiritual development. All these points comes under the third one, that is related to aims and ideals of education. Then fourth main feature is curriculum of education. So it is mainly divided into 2. That means on the basis of level and on the basis of nature. On the basis of level, it is classified into 2. They are curriculum of primary education, then curriculum of higher education. Under this curriculum of higher education, it is divided into 2 parts. They are general education and specific education. Then second one, regarding the curriculum of primary education, it comprises of training in languages, grammar, simple calculation, etc. But related to higher education, they teach, in the general education, they teach education of Sanskrit, language, grammar, etc. Then on the basis of nature, it is classified into 2. They are Abara and Para. Abara means it included language, grammar, agriculture, cattle rearing, etc. That means materialistic curriculum. And Para, that is spiritual curriculum. It includes education of Vedic literature, theology, ethics, etc. Then related to method of teaching, it consists of so many methods. First one is imitation, repetition and rote method. Second one, explanation and illustration method. Then statement, demonstration and practice method. Then question answer, discussion and debate. Then fifth one, listening, teaching and practice method. Then logic method. Then next one, story telling method. Then regarding the discipline, the last feature of this Vedic system of education, it includes physical control, mental control and spiritual control. Relating to the teaching institution, that is Gurukula, it consists of primary education that was organized in home and higher education in Gurukul. And location and form of Gurukul, in early Vedic period, they used to situate in the lap of nature, but later it is changed to the vicinity of large village or center of pilgrimage. So then various kinds of Gurukuls are there in this period. They are Chola, Gathika, Charana and Chaturpadi. And regarding admission and Upanayana Samskara of students in Gurukul, the children were admitted at different stages based upon their caste. They are Brahmins 8 years, Kshatriya 10 years and Vaishya 12 years. So Upanayana Samskar was performed for every child at the time of admission. Upanayana means bring near or to present a child before the teacher. Then daily routine and teaching work in Gurukul. Then related to examination and a degree, So no certificate was issued to successful students. The ability alone was their certificate. But students who completed the 12 year of general education, one Veda they are called as Nadak. If they finish two Veda, that means they studied for 24 years of general curriculum, they are called Vasu. If they finish three Veda or they finish 36 years of general curriculum means they are Rudra. And if they finish 12 years of general curriculum, they can finish four Veda, they are called Aditya. Then Samavarthana ceremony, it was held at the completion of Gurukul education. So at the time of this ceremony, the students put off the celibate robe, then wear household clothes and made to sit before the fire altar, and the god were invoked with Veda mantras, and the teacher preached the students. So he preached at that time to follow the duties of domestic life, social service and duty towards nation, and exhorted them to indulge with idleness. He advised them to free themselves for three debts, namely Putrarana, Gururana and Devarana. Then last one, again the contribution to the Vedic system of education. So thank you students.